Welcome back to Marketplace Mastery and congratulations. You sold a policy, you got an eligibility letter. Well, what does it mean? So let's go over it. The eligibility letter is the letter the federal government provides us once we apply for a tax credit. What you'll have is the member's information on the top left-hand corner. Down here, where you have the boxes, it'll tell you the determination, whether or not they're qualified for health insurance. Another key feature, it didn't always do this, but now it'll actually tell you the amount of income that is on the application. That's important, and let me explain why that's important. Because you will find someone who will call you out of the blue who you've never spoken to before, and they're gonna ask you questions about their insurance. The easiest way of pulling their information is to search the marketplace. You need a little bit of information, the state, their name, date of birth, but then you can pull their application. And once you get their application, you'll have access to this. And now, when, let's say you're talking to John Smith and he's telling you that his insurance cost him, whatever, $27 a month, but when you ran the rate, it came out to $67 a month, and something's not right. So now you look at the eligibility letter and you look at the income, and then you ask him about his income, and you find out that the person that did the application, they just didn't tell all the information. So you may have an income that's less than what it's supposed to be. And then you can explain, well, Mr. Smith, I'm not sure if you realize this, on your application right now, it shows an income of $15,000, and you're telling me your income is $32,000. So there's a little bit of a problem, and keep in mind, at the end of the day, the IRS is the one that's gonna be monitoring what goes on with your subsidy. So if you wanna make sure it's correct, I would highly recommend that we do it today. Now, once you get into someone's application, I should also mention, to change the actual aging of record, as we've learned, doesn't take much, right? So keep in mind when you're doing that, you gotta make sure you're on point. Now, besides the income that is on the eligibility letter, also on the eligibility letter is documentation that's being requested. You normally have to go to page 2 or page 3, depending on the size of the family. But if you look, it'll tell you right here, oh, this one's gonna be on page 3, and oh, there it is. Please send documentation. So it's gonna tell you exactly what they're being requested. Sometimes it's gonna be multiple things, but it's also gonna give you examples of things that you can send in order to clear the verification. So for this particular eligibility letter, it's asking for income verification and saying that you can send in a tax form 1040, a W-2, a 1099, some pay stubs. There's a whole bunch of things on this list. Keep in mind, if you ever need to send in income-based documentation, there is a letter that I send. Just make it a little detailed, and you can go ahead and send the letter in as opposed to all of this stuff. It's just a lot easier. One thing that I recommend, as we've talked about, and we're gonna go over the same thing a few times, but as we've talked about, there's 5 things that you wanna add to every document that you upload to the marketplace, even if you're uploading it to your own account. You wanna make sure the name, date of birth, city, state, and zip, social, and the application ID number are all visible on the letter. Otherwise, unfortunately, I have seen people have their letters not verified in time because the marketplace does the marketplace, unfortunately. If the client needs to send anything to the marketplace, that's the address. But again, I don't recommend that anything gets sent to the marketplace. That's like spitting in the wind, I guess. But that's the address. It's out there in London, Kentucky. In the beginning, before they were uploading, that's the only option we used to have, and that is pretty much a nightmare in itself. So, that's pretty much it. You're gonna find the information on front. It's gonna tell you whether or not they qualify. You're gonna have the income verification, or the income that they claimed on the front page. You're gonna have any requirements on the second and third page, and that's pretty much it. All of the income or all of the documentation will be uploaded directly to Health Sherpa. You're not gonna be mailing anything in. So pretty much that's the eligibility letter. The rest of this is just filler papers, to be honest with you. Explains appeals and things like that. By all means, take a look at it. But there's no other information that you need to know. All right, we are complete with the eligibility letter. Let's get on to the next module. Peace.